Immigration lawyers can be expensive, and if you're sitting there wondering whether that's a really necessary expense, I want you to know that it is a completely reasonable thing to question. Legal fees are often thousands of dollars and not on everybody's budget. I often hear the question, do I need an immigration lawyer in order to be successful with my immigration or citizenship application? My name is Amelia Cotto. I'm a dual licensed cross-border immigration lawyer, and I practice in both Canada and United States. My practice is exclusively in immigration law. I've helped hundreds of families with their immigration applications, and I've also worked with clients who have successfully filed their own applications. So I'm coming to this conversation from both sides of it. My goal is to give you an honest framework for making this decision. We're going to talk about when hiring a lawyer is genuinely worth it, when you might reasonably be able to handle it yourself, and what the consequences look like when someone chooses the wrong path for their situation. And because I know that full representation isn't financially possible for everyone, I'm also going to give you some real options for what to do if you want legal support but can't afford full representation. So the first thing to know is that no, you do not legally require a lawyer to file an immigration or a citizenship application. Both IRCC and USCIS accept applications from individuals all the time. Nobody's going to deny your application simply because you didn't do it with an immigration lawyer. You can pull the forms off the website. There's often document checklists as well. You're able to pay the fees yourself and you're able to send it in. If your case is straightforward, and what I mean by that is that you have well-documented evidence, your records are complete and consistent, and nothing in your background introduces complications, ambiguity, inadmissibility issues at the border, it is possible to file without a lawyer. I want to say that clearly because it's important to understand. And oftentimes, one of the biggest pitfalls I see is that everybody thinks that their case is very simple. Sometimes people don't fully understand what the complications are within their case. The argument I hear most often is that since the forms are publicly available and agencies have guides on their website, a lawyer simply fills out forms. And people say, why can't I just fill out the forms myself? It's partially true. The forms are public and there are instructions, but agencies don't tell you how to submit the best possible application. They tell you what the minimums are. So they don't show you how to build the legal arguments on why you qualify and how to handle inconsistencies or complications that your case might contain. So I'm going to give you a real example from a couple I met this morning, actually. And they had filed for an adjustment of status application where the Canadian was looking to immigrate to the United States. They found all of the forms on their website. They filled everything out. Their case was accepted for processing, which is a good sign. Eventually, the wheels came off because they didn't understand how to prove the financial eligibility of their case. So what ended up happening is that part of their case was approved, the marriage petition, but part of it was denied. Not understanding how to fix it, the Canadian then left the US, but has accumulated sufficient unlawful presence to now have bars from coming back to the United States. And now their case in the consulate requires a waiver in addition to it. The waiver plus the consular processing is probably going to take 2 to 5 years before realistically this person can come back to the United States and obtain the immigration benefit that they are entitled to. So that is a big consequence, and it is something that I see on an often weekly basis of things that people didn't know how to navigate. Oh, and it was simple and I just found all of the forms, but that's not where immigration law comes in. The forms are sort of what we do at the end. They are important. It's important to have the details and to include all the information. There's consequences for filling out forms incorrectly. But really, the benefit of an immigration lawyer is that we do this on a daily basis and we are familiar with the policies and how to present a case and how to avoid pitfalls that can cause issues like the example that I just mentioned. So before you decide whether you want to hire a lawyer or you want to do it yourself, I want us to slow down and look at what you're actually applying for. And most of the time in immigration, you are applying for a meaningful benefit. So a work visa, permanent residence, or citizenship. The outcome of an immigration or citizenship case has the potential to alter the direction of your family's life. It opens up a whole new world in every sense of the word. And in many cases, it's not only for yourself, but also for your children and your spouse. So when you frame it that way, the question shifts a little bit. It's not just, how can I save a little bit of money? It becomes, what is this actually worth to me and my family for it to be done correctly the first time and with no complications? I've had clients whose documents had typos or mismatches in their name or birth certificates. I've had clients who didn't realize what it is that they needed to prove or their eligibility in a specific way. And after trying a couple times, now they have all these denials on their file. And every time they send it, there's red flags because officers feel uncomfortable after you have a few denials as to why you were denied before, but now you should be approved. I've also met with applicants who were eligible under more than one route, and there was benefit in choosing one route over the other, chose the wrong route, and now it has consequences for their family. There's also the concept called survivorship bias, and I've seen it very powerful on social media. Reddit is notorious for this. And it is all of the people that say it is so easy, their case was approved, it took only a couple of hours, people hiring lawyers are wasting their money, and there is no value. You shouldn't hire a lawyer either because look at me, I did it so easily and I didn't have any complications. So why waste your time? Why waste your money? And that's very appealing to people. And the problem with that is that oftentimes that's only a snippet of their case, and you don't really know what they did, how their case is different from yours, and you don't get to meet with all of the people who tried it and it didn't go well for them. And I recognize that my bias is on the other side because I am the person that meets with the people that this didn't work out for and now need help trying to fix it. So let's talk about the cost calculation. I understand legal fees are a real investment, but the cost of a denial or a significant delay is often not as apparent until it happens to you. If your application gets returned for incomplete documents, you're months behind often. If it gets denied, you can reapply in some cases, but you're starting over. New fees often, new timelines. Now there's a denial on your record. And for the most heartbreaking of cases, there are changes in the law. So some immigration programs are not open indefinitely. And the most heartbreaking ones that I meet with are when someone was eligible and essentially they lost their eligibility because they tried to DIY it and now there's no fixing it because the program has closed. They're no longer eligible. Those are really tough. And I hate to be the one to bear the bad news, but oftentimes people kind of already have figured, and it's just really heartbreaking because it was worth a lot more to them and they just, figured it was more simple than it truly was. Immigration law, as you have probably gathered by the news in both Canada and the United States, it's very politicized and very policy driven. So there are changes in policies honestly on a weekly basis. And it's actually one of the reasons why many immigration lawyers only practice immigration law, because it takes a lot to stay on top of all of the changes and all of the different guidance that there is related to immigration policies and immigration programs. So lawyers are on the front lines of those changes in ways that are genuinely difficult to replace and do on your own. So when does filing an application without a lawyer become a realistic option? It is when you understand the eligibility criteria. So what is it that you have to prove in order to obtain the immigration or citizenship benefit that you want? It is when your evidence is clearly documented, there are consistencies across your history and across your records. And there are no complicating factors, meaning there are no inadmissibility issues. You don't have any unlawful presence. You've never accidentally overstayed. You've never worked without authorizations. There are no adoptions in your family history, name changes that are difficult to trace. The records haven't been lost or amended. There aren't unusual birth or marriage circumstances, no criminal record, and that is when you are working with the strongest possible conditions for a self-filed application. This doesn't guarantee a smooth process, especially if this is the first one that you're doing, but it means that you're not starting with any hidden obstacles that you haven't found. You should still strongly consider consulting a lawyer if any of these apply. So if there's any gaps in your documents or your history, if you have a complicated immigration background or factors that make your case unusual, if there are name discrepancies on the record, that's another thing you want to get checked. If you have children that you want to include, in particular if they are reaching the age of majority, you want to make sure that they are not going to age out of being able to be included in a family file. And if your case touches a cross-border issue, so those are going to be more complicated because cross-border is important to get it right because there's often different laws that you are trying to comply with. And the last thing is if you want peace of mind of knowing that it is going to be done correctly and you're willing to pay for that. I had a consult pretty recently of a client that ended up hiring me, and she was telling me that she had been on Reddit and the Facebook groups, and she was just questioning why she couldn't figure it out on her own. And she was really struggling. She had been at it for a few months and had regretted wasting all that time trying to do it on her own. She was able to hire a lawyer, but she said that she felt inadequate based on everyone's comment about what a waste of money it is. To her and to anyone that is feeling that way, you don't have to justify hiring a lawyer. We hire professionals for things that we could do ourselves all the time. I technically could file my own taxes. I could negotiate my own real estate deal. If I ever was in a lawsuit, I could represent myself, but I'm not a litigation lawyer and I don't want to learn how to be a litigation lawyer. I want to get things done appropriately. Anything now in the age that we're living in with the internet, with AI, anything you can figure out how to do on your own. And everyone gets to decide how they spend their precious time and their resources. I also want to spend a moment here. I know that the reality is that for a lot of people, it's not helpful to say, hire a lawyer and leave it at that, because full representation isn't financially feasible for everyone right now. There are many people that are struggling economically, and there are legitimate options that are worth knowing about if you can't hire full representation. So the first one is an unbundled legal service or limited scope consultation. So many immigration lawyers, my office included, offer one-time consultations where you can bring your specific situation and get a professional assessment as to your eligibility, your risks, your documents. You're not hiring full representation, but you're getting an expert set of eyes on your case before you file. And that single assessment can potentially catch big things and help you avoid pitfalls. The other thing is document review services. So some attorneys will review a complete application before you submit it and not take it on full for representation. It is a limited scope practice. And this is the difference in that you're putting in a lot of the legwork, but somebody else is giving you feedback on it. There are also nonprofit legal aid organizations in both Canada and United States. And for some people, they might be eligible for legal aid that provides low cost or free assistance to qualifying individuals. These vary by location, but there are a real resource that are staffed by people that are very passionate about immigration law and helping others. So you want to look for organizations that are accredited, and you want to make sure that the people working there are also lawyers that are licensed, because there's also some that are not. There's also immigration law clinics. Many schools run supervised immigration clinics where students handle real cases under attorney supervision. And the quality is generally good because students put a lot of time into those cases, and also they have supervisors that are practicing professionals. So the cost is often free or very low cost. The things I would caution against is notarios, consultants without proper accreditation, or anyone that is charging you fees but is not actually legally authorized to advise you. In both countries, there are people who provide legal services in this strict, and oftentimes lawyers will have a higher threshold to meet and they are more highly regulated, so less likely to try to take advantage of your situation or hire lawyers. Actually, sometimes I am shocked by how much consultants charge because the perception is oftentimes they are cheaper than lawyers, or same with notarios, and oftentimes the prices that I hear are more than what most lawyers charge. The main thing is that whoever you go with, you want to make sure that they are licensed and operating within a regulated framework. So the goal of this video was to give you an honest answer and to provide the other side of what a lot of these Reddit or Facebook groups have to say, because oftentimes they are dealing with the survivorship bias, and I am dealing with the other side of helping people fix errors and mistakes. The right answer, of course, depends on your specific circumstances, your documentation, what you're applying for. If you're not sure which side you're on, the best first step is to schedule a call with someone that can look at your specific circumstance. That's a kind of strategy session that we offer at my firm, Sisu Legal. And if you would like to get on a call, you could schedule right on my website, sisulegal.com, or you can call my office at 248-907-0467 or 226-773-0094.